Hello, guys and gals, and this is part 12. Just checking. Part 12 of our reading of William Goldman's The Princess Bride, a hot fairy tale. And so we are going to go over the copyright information, which is clearly right here. Copyright 1973, I believe, by William Goldman, right here. Copyright 1973 by William Goldman, all rights reserved, including all rights reserved, published in the United States by Ballantine Books, a division of Random House Incorporated, New York, and simultaneously in Canada by Ballantine Books of Canada, Limited, Toronto, Canada. And it has a Library of Congress number and all the different. The cover art is by Norman Green. Now, in the last book, the Black Knight, or the Man in Black, we don't know who he is yet, managed to defeat the first of the. I think he managed to beat the Sicilian, I believe it was. Or was it the Spaniard? Must have been the Spaniard. He beat one of them, and now he's going to basically take on, the giant. I don't remember what his name is, but okay. And anyways, we are going to do this. Okay. Physique, that's right. Okay. We're going to start with the previous paragraph just so we have last time we ended it off at the perfect place, I believe. He was still sitting there the next day when Vizzini, the Sicilian, found him. Vizzini flattered him, promised to keep the booze away. Vizzini needed Physique, but not half as much as Physique needed Vizzini. As long as Vizzini was around, you couldn't be alone. Whatever Vizzini said, Physique did, and if that meant crushing the head of the Man in Black, so be it. But not by ambush, not the coward's way. Nothing unsportsmanlike. His parents had always taught him to go by the rules. Physique stood in shadow. The great rock tight in his great hand. He could hear the footsteps of the Man in Black coming nearer. Physique leaped from hiding and threw the rock with incredible power and perfect accuracy. It smashed into a boulder a foot away from the face of the Man in Black. I did that on purpose, Physique said, then picking up another rock, holding it ready. I didn't have to miss. I believe you, the Man in Black said. They stood facing each other on the narrow mountain path. Now what happens? Asked the Man in Black. We face each other as God intended, Physique said. No tricks, no weapons. Skill against skill alone. You mean you'll put down your rock and I'll put down my sword and we'll try to kill each other? Like civilized people, is that it? If you'd rather, I can kill you now, Physique said, gently, and he raised his rock to throw. I'm giving you a chance. So you are, and I accept it, said the Man in Black, as he began to take off his sword and scabbard. Although, frankly, I think the odds are slightly in your favor at hand fighting. I tell you what, I tell everyone, Physique explained. I cannot help being the biggest and strongest. It's not my fault. I'm not blaming you, said the Man in Black. Let's get to it then, Physique said, and he dropped the rock and got into fighting position, watching as the Man in Black slowly moved towards him. For a moment, Physique felt almost wistful. This was clearly a good fellow. Even if he had killed Inigo, he didn't complain or try and beg or bribe. He just accepted his fate. No complaining, nothing like that. Obviously a criminal of character. Was he a criminal, though? Physique wondered. Surely the mask would indicate that. Or was it worse than that? Was he disfigured? His face burned with an acid, perhaps? Or perhaps born hideous? Why do you wear a mask and hood? Physique asked. I think everyone will in the near future, was the Man in Black's reply. They're terribly comfortable. Okay, this is 1973, way prior to the Rona, and now everyone like wears a mask, or in 2021 and 2020. So this is kind of unintentionally common. I mean, fortune telling, whatever, prophetic. Okay, wait. Uh, they faced each other in on the mountain path. There was a moment's pause, then they engaged. Physique let the man in black fiddle around for a bit, testing the man's strength, which was considerable for someone. Let's see, 133, who wasn't a giant. He let the man in black feint and dodge and try to hold here, to hold and hold, try a hold here, a hold here. Then, when he was quite sure the man in black would not go to his maker embarrassed, Physique locked his arms tightly around. Physique lifted and squeezed, and he took the remains of the man in black, snapped him one way, snapped him the other, cracked him with one hand in the neck and the other at the spine base, locked his legs up, rolled his limp arms around them, and tossed the entire bundle of what had once been human into a nearby crevice. That was the theory, anyways. In fact, what happened was this: Physique lifted and squeezed, and the man in black slipped free. Thought Physique. That certainly was a surprise. I thought for sure I had him. You're very quick, Physique complimented. And a good thing, too, said the man in black. Then they engaged again. This time Physique did not give the man in black a chance to fiddle. He just grabbed him, swung him around his head once, twice, smashed his skull against the nearest boulder, pounded him, pummeled him, gave him a final squeeze for a good measure, and tossed the remains of what had been alive into a nearby crevice. Those were his intentions, anyways. In actuality, he never even got through the grabbing part with much success, because no sooner had Physique's great hands reached out than the man in black dropped and spun. Wait, what? I lost my place again. Darn it. Okay, here it is. Dropped and spun and twisted, and was loose and free and still quite alive. I don't understand a thing that's happening, Physique thought. Could I be losing my strength? Could there be a mountain disease that takes your strength? There was a desert disease that took my parents' strength. That must be it. I must have caught a plague. But if that is it, why isn't he weak? No, I must still be strong. It has to be something else. Now, what could it be? Suddenly he knew. He had not fought against one man in so long that he had all but forgotten how. He had been fighting groups and gangs and bunches for so many years that the idea of having but a single opponent was slow in making itself known to him, because you fought them entirely differently. When there were 12 against you, you made certain moves, tried certain holds, acted in a certain way. When there was but one, you had to completely readjust yourself quickly now. Physique went back through time. How had he fought the champion of Sandiki? He flashed through the fight in his mind, then reminded himself of all the other victories against the other champions, the men from Isper and Samal and Bula and Zile. He remembered fleeing Constantinople, because he had beaten their champion so quickly, so easily. Yes, Physique thought, of course. And suddenly he readjusted his style to what it once had been. But by that time, the man in black had him by the throat. The man in black was riding him, and his arms were locked around Physique's windpipe, one in front, one behind. Physique reached back, but the man in black was hard to grasp. Physique could not get his arms around to his back and dislodge the enemy. Physique ran at a boulder, and at the last minute spun around so that the man in black received the main force of the charge. It was a terrible jolt. Physique knew it was. But the grip on his windpipe grew even tighter. Physique charged the boulder again and again, spun and again. He knew the power of the blow the man in black had taken, but still the grip remained. Physique clawed at the man in black's arms. He pounded his giant fists against him. But now he had no air. Physique continued to struggle. He could feel a hollowness in his legs now. He could see the world beginning to pale. But he did not give up. He was the mighty Physique, lover of rhymes, and you did not give up. No. No matter what. Now the hollowness was in his arms, and the world was snowing. Physique was on his knees. He pounded still but feebly. He fought still, but his blows would have not harmed a child. No air. There was no more air. There was no more anything. Not for Physique. Not in this world. I am beaten. I am going to die, he thought just before he fell onto the mountain path. He was only half wrong. There is an instant between unconsciousness and death, and as the giant pitched into the rocky path, the instant happened. And just before it happened, the man in black let go. He staggered to his feet and leaned against the boulder until he could walk. Physique lay sprawled, faintly breathing. The man in black looked around for a rope to secure the giant, gave up the search almost as soon as he'd begun. What good were ropes against strength like his, or like this? He would simply snap them. The man in black made his way to where he dropped his sword and put it back on. 2 down, and the hardest one to go. Vizzini was waiting for him. Indeed, he had set out a little picnic spread from the knapsack that he always carried. He had taken a small handkerchief, and on it had placed 2 wine goblets. In the center was a small leather wine holder, and beside it some cheese and some apples. The spot could not have been lovelier. A high point of the mountain path with a splendid view all the way back to Florin Channel. Buttercup lay helpless beside the picnic, gagged and tied and blindfolded. Vizzini held his long knife against her white throat. "Welcome," Vizzini called, when the man in black was almost upon him. The man in black stopped and surveyed the situation. "You've beaten my Turk," Vizzini said. "It would seem so. And now it's down to you, and it is down to me." So that would seem so. So that would seem too, the man in black said, edging just a half step closer to the hunchback's long knife. But with a smile, the hunchback pushed the knife harder into Buttercup's throat. It was about to bring blood. "If you wish her dead, by all means, keep moving," Vizzini said. The man in black froze. "Better," Vizzini nodded. "No sound now beneath the moonlight." "I understand completely what you are trying to do," the Sicilian said finally. "And I want it quite clear that I resent your behavior. You are trying to kidnap what I have rightfully stolen, and I think it quite ungentlemanly." "Let me explain," the man in black began, starting to edge forward. "You're killing her," the Sicilian screamed, shoving harder with the knife, a drop of blood appearing now at Buttercup's throat, red against white. The man in black retreated. "Let me explain," he said again, but from a distance. Again the hunchback interrupted. "There is nothing you can tell me that I do not already know. I have not had the schooling equal to some, but for knowledge outside of books, there is no one in the world close to me. People say I read minds, but that is not, in all honesty, true. I merely predict the truth using logic and wisdom, and I say you are a kidnapper. Admit it. I will admit that, as a ransom item, she has value, nothing more. I've been instructed to do certain things to her. It is very important that I follow my instructions. If I do this properly, I will be in demand for life, and my instructions do not include ransom, which they include death. So your explanations are meaningless. We cannot do business together. You wish to keep her alive for ransom, whereas it is terribly important to me that she stop breathing. It is, in the very near future. Has it occurred to you that I have gone to great effort and expense as well as personal sacrifice to reach this point? The man in black replied, and that if I fail now, I might get very angry, and if she stops um, breathing in the very near future, it is entirely possible that you will catch the same fatal illness. I have no doubt that you could kill me. Any man who could get by inigo and physique would have no trouble disposing of me. However, has it occurred to you that if you did that, then neither of us would get what we wanted? You having lost your ransom item, me my life. We are at an impasse then, said the man in black. I fear so, said the Sicilian. I cannot compete with you physically, and you are no match for my brains. Are you that smart? There are no words to contain all my wisdom. I am so cunning, crafty, and clever, so filled with deceit, guile, and chicanery, such a knave, so shrewd, cagey, as well as calculated, as diabolical, as I am vulpine, in tricky, as tricky, as I am untrustworthy. Well, I told you there were no words invented yet to explain how great my brain is, but let me put it this way. The world is several million years old, and several billion people have at one time or another trod upon it. But I, Vizzini the Sicilian, am, speaking with pure candor and modesty, the slickest, sleekest, slyest, and wiliest fellow who has yet come down the pike. In that case, said the man in black, I challenge you to a battle of wits. Vizzini had to smile. For the princess, you read my mind. It just seems that way. I told you. It's merely logic and wisdom. To the death? Correct again. I accept, cried Vizzini. Begin the battle. Pour the wine, said the man in black. Vizzini filled the two goblets with deep red liquid. The man in black pulled from his dark clothing a small packet and handed it to the hunchback. Open it and inhale, but be careful not to touch. Vizzini took the packet and followed instructions. I smell nothing. The man in black took the packet again. What you do not smell is called iocane powder. It is odorless, tasteless, and dissolves immediately in any kind of liquid. It also happens to be the deadliest poison known to man. Vizzini was beginning to get excited. I don't suppose you'd hand me the goblets, said the man in black. Vizzini shook his head. Take them yourself. My long knife does not leave her throat. The man in black reached down for the goblets. He took them and turned away. Vizzini cackled aloud in anticipation. The man in black busied himself a long moment. Then he turned again with a goblet in each hand. Very carefully, he put the goblet in his right hand in front of Vizzini, and he put the goblet in his left hand across the kerchief from the hunchback. He sat down in front of the left-handed goblet and dropped the empty iocane packet by the cheese. Your guess, he said. Where is the poison? Guess? Vizzini cried. I don't guess, I think. I ponder, I deduce, then I decide. But I never guess. The battle of wits has begun, said the man in black. It ends when you decide, and we drink the wine and find out who's right and who is dead. We both drink, need I add, and swallow naturally at precisely the same time. It's all so simple, said the hunchback. All I have to do is deduce. From what I know of you, the way your mind works, are you the kind of man who would put the poison in his own glass or into the glass of his enemy? You're stalling, said the man in black. I'm relishing it in what I'm doing, answered the Sicilian. No one has challenged my mind in years, and I love it. By the way, may I smell both goblets? Be my guest. Just be sure you put them down the same way you found them. The Sicilian sniffed his own glass. Then he reached across the kerchief for the goblet of the man in black and sniffed too. As you said, odorless. As I also said, you're stalling. The Sicilian smiled and stared at the wine goblets. Now a great fool, he began, would place the wine in his own goblet, because he would know that only under great oh well, his own goblet, because he would know that only another great fool would reach first for what he was given. I am clearly not a great fool, so I will clearly not reach for your wine. That's your final choice? No, because you knew I was not a great fool, so you would know that I would never fall for such a trick. You would count on it. So I will clearly not reach for mine either. Keep going, said the man in black. I intend to, the Sicilian reflected a moment. We have now decided the poison cup is most likely in front of you. But the poison is powder made from iocane, and iocane comes only from Australia, and Australia, as everyone knows, is peopled with criminals, and criminals are used to having people not trust them. As I don't trust you, which means I can clearly not choose the wine in front of you. The man in black was starting to get nervous. But again, you must have suspected I knew the origins of iocane, so you must have known I knew about the criminals and criminal behavior, and therefore I can clearly not choose the wine in front of me. Truly, you have a dizzying intellect, whispered the man in black. You have beaten my Turk. That means that you are exceptionally strong, and exceptionally strong men are convinced that they are too powerful even to die, too powerful even for iocane powder, poison. So you could have put it in your cup, trusting on your strength to save you. Thus, I can clearly not choose the wine in front of you. The man in black was very nervous now, but you also bested my Spaniard, which means that you must have studied, because he studied many years for his excellence. And if you can study, you are clearly more than simply strong. You're aware of how mortal we all are, and you do not wish to die, so you would have kept the poison as far from yourself as possible. Therefore, I can clearly not choose the wine in front of me. You're just trying to make me give something away with all this chatter, said the man in black angrily. Well, it won't work. You'll learn nothing from me that I promised you. I have already learned everything from you, said the Sicilian. I know where the poison is. Only a genius could have deduced as much. How fortunate for me that I happen to be one, said the hunchback, growing more and more amused now. You cannot frighten me, said the man in black, but there was fear all through his voice. Shall we drink then? Pick, choose, quit dragging it out. You don't know. You couldn't know. The Sicilian only smiled at the outburst. Then a strange look crossed his features, and he pointed off behind the man in black. What in the world can that be? He asked. The man in black turned around and looked. I don't see anything. Oh, well, I could have sworn I saw something. No matter, the Sicilian began to laugh. I don't understand what's so funny, said the man in black. Tell you in a minute, said the hunchback. But first let's drink. And he picked up his own wine goblet. The man in black picked up the one in front of him. They drank. You guessed wrong, said the man in black. You only think I guessed wrong, said the Sicilian, his laughter ringing louder. That's what's so funny. I switched glasses when your back was turned. There was nothing for the man in black to say. Fool, cried the hunchback. You fell victim to one of the classic blunders. The most famous is never get involved in a land war in Asia, but only slightly less well known is the never go against the Sicilian when death is on the line. He was quite cheery until the iocane powder took effect. The man in black stepped quickly over the corpse, then roughly ripped the blindfold from the prince's eyes. I heard everything that happened, Buttercup began, and then she said, oh, because she had never been next to a dead man before. You killed him, she whispered finally. I let him die laughing, said the man in black. Pray I do as much for you. He lifted her, sliced her bonds away, put her on her feet, and started to pull her along. Please, Buttercup said, give me a moment to gather myself. The man in black released his grip. Buttercup rubbed her wrists. Stop. Oh. Buttercup rubbed her wrists, stopped, massaged her ankles. She took a final look at Sicilian. To think, she murmured, all that time it was your cup that was poisoned. They were both poisoned, said the man in black. I've spent the past 2 years building up immunity to iocane powder. Buttercup looked up at him. He was terrifying to her, masked and hooded and dangerous. His voice was strained, rough. Who are you? She asked. I am no one to be trifled with, replied the man in black. That is all you ever need to know. And with that, he yanked her upright. You've had your moment. Again, he pulled her after him, and this time she could do nothing but follow. They moved along the mountain path. The moonlight was very bright, and there were rocks everywhere, and to Buttercup it all looked dead and yellow, like the moon. She had just spent several hours with 3 men who were openly planning to kill her. So why, she wondered, was she more frightened now than then? Who was this horrid hooded figure to strike fear in her so? What could be worse than dying? I'll pay you a great deal of money to release me, she managed to say. The man in black glanced at her. You are rich, then? I will be, Buttercup said. Whatever you want for ransom, I promise. I'll get it for you, if you let me go. The man in black just laughed. And we are going to have to stop it here. If you like this content, make sure you like and subscribe and ring the bell so you know when I upload. Also, if you want to support me in any way, or if you want to join the Discord server, then all the information will be in the description below. As always, thanks for watching, everyone, and have a great day.